Hello there everyone, today I'm going to tackle drawing narratives. Now, what is a narrative in regard to art? A narrative, or a sequence as I sometimes call it myself, is a series of illustrations made to tell a story. Well, it's usually a series, I'll get to that. It's a little different than a comic because they are usually full canvas standalone art pieces, and they do not contain dialogue. But this is just like a general rule or like guide. Frankly, narratives aren't like this super established art thing. They're just kind of like, this is what this is called. As I mentioned, not every narrative has to be a sequence of pictures. It can also be something like a image that maybe has symbolism or a lot of allusions to what has happened. If an artist is trying to depict some point in history, lots of times, like older paintings, sorry, my cat, but lots of times they will try and fit the whole story into one painting, which is also called a narrative. So a narrative can refer to basically any piece of art that tells a story, but for this video, I am focusing on a sequence style narrative with no kinds of dialogue. I will be using my OCs Dane and Hendricks for this narrative and already have a scene planned out. You're probably watching a speed paint for the first illustration now, so I'll explain what I'm going for. So in the scene is where Dane and Hendricks, well, mostly Dane, are leaving the scene of an ambush. Part of the team is dead, and the cold is draining them. Though it isn't pictured here for my own ease, they had left one of their members in a cave. Richmond, I'll show a picture of him. I drew him a little bit ago, in the hopes that they could find help quicker. And things are not going well, especially for Dane. He was previously forced into Treden's army, which is the enemy of Servalos, which is Dane's like chosen kingdom. Well, I guess he was technically born to it, but he chose to fight for them. And though it's known that Dane was forced into fighting for Treden, not everybody trusts him. So, given that they were ambushed, Dane is alive, it's kind of like, ooh, they might not trust me anymore. But that's kind of a lot to get across in one illustration. So I wanted to mainly focus on the fact that Dane and Hendricks are getting away from some kind of tragedy. I figured to get across the idea that they are walking away from something, I would add a sword partially buried in the snow, as well as have them literally walking away from a trail of blood, mostly coming from Hendricks because he's the more wounded of the two. So once I got to the second illustration, I wanted to make Dane look very exhausted. He's been fighting, hungry, and half frozen for dozens of hours by now. And on top of all that, he is carrying Hendricks. The added blood on them coming from more visible wounds in this picture also is to help get across that something went wrong. Oh, and something that I forgot to do when drawing this was to make a color palette for the clothes and backgrounds, which was a little bit of a pain to work with, honestly, because I couldn't just color pick straight off of the previous picture because of all the lighting and fog layers that I had. So it took me a little bit of tweaking to get that right. I had to go back in and edit I was just basically just taking away layers so that I could get the right colors. So I'll have to keep that in mind for next time. Sometimes it's hard because when I'm figuring out what colors to use for the backgrounds and clothes that I don't have a set palette for, like these ones, they're not their usual clothes, I keep making tiny micro changes and switching stuff around. It's kind of hard because I don't want to keep on going back and forth either. But sometimes you just gotta suck it up. This was not one of those times that I sucked it up though. So on to the third. In the third image, Dane is finally starting to give out and his knee hits the snow. For this one, I think I could have done better with the blood, but I was also I was kind of worried that this was going to take me forever to draw. It ended up not taking too long to get all of these done. I think all of them took like a reasonable amount of time, but I didn't know that when I was drawing this one, so I could have done better with that. I also didn't want to make it too detailed in case like I would have to redraw it somewhere, which I don't think I did. Yeah, other than that, I also think it would be cool looking if I added some kind of frost effect to the armor. Like, you know how metal gets when it has frosted over the night? Something kind of like that. Yeah, this one, pretty basic. In the fourth image, though, Dane is fully on his knees in exhaustion, and the fog is only getting thicker. This one, I struggled for so long trying to get Dane and Hendricks to look right. I don't draw people this close to each other or like physically touching a lot, so it does look a little botched. But hey, at least I know one more thing I can improve on. It also did not help at all that I couldn't find a good reference, and I was not about to ask one of my siblings if I could pretend to be an almost corpse on their back while they're like kneeling and stuff. Like, how do you even explain that? The main thing was Hendrix's legs, because I was having issues with not making them look awkward, which, I mean, considering he's unconscious isn't the worst thing, as he wouldn't be able to correct his legs in this state. But, like, still, like, the perspective, I don't know, it's okay. But for slide 5, I wanted Dane to appear to see something in the distance, or trying to, at least. For this narrative, I wanted to try and use a variety of camera angles and closeness to the character. I wanted to start with an opening, establishing shot, then move in a little closer, and then get the motions. Like, so that was kind of interesting to do because I don't really think about it that often, but I think it turned out fine. I usually don't draw tears this close, so I hope they don't come off as too weird or awkward looking. But yeah, Dane is not wanting to give up on the remainder of his team. Dane was also the newest member to their team, and for everything to go so south for him after he was pardoned is not doing the best for his morale. Okay, on to slide 6. All there is snow, rock, and fog until vague silhouettes start to appear in the distance. They've finally been spotted. About time. Dane was pretty certain that no one was going to come after them after the ambush. That's how it would have been for him when he was with Treated, at least. So, you know, kind of unexpected. I didn't draw any kind of, I don't know what it would be called, like another expression. Instead, in frame 7, I went for something pretty straightforward. I basically just wanted to signify that Dane has finally let himself faint. So it's just a black screen with a little gradient. And now for our final frame. For 8, I wanted to again draw Dane. This time he's fainted, like I said. I think, you know, looking back, I think it would have been more interesting if I had a bird's eye view, like you're looking up and you look down to see like Dane lying down, Dane and Hendricks collapsed. But, you know, this one's okay. I think the only problem I have with it is the hand looks a little bit too small. I don't know if that's just me, though. But yeah, I really liked this drawing exercise, especially since I wanted to try something that wasn't quite a comic, but still honed that skill. It actually didn't take as long as I was expecting, but that was probably due to planning out the drawings first, which you should always do, but I do not always do that. And it also probably helped because I can basically draw Dane blindfolded at this point. And yeah, that was about it for this one. My cat is scratching at the door right now, so I think I'm just gonna wrap it up. Thank you all for watching. If you are interested in more of my art or my OCs, then I have a lot more videos, and you can also check out my Instagram, Art by Sci-fi. Thank you for watching. Bye.